Financially worthless? Actually? I shook my hands in a mix of shock and rage as I gazed at the divorce papers on my desk. Daniel's statement struck me like a blow to the face. The wife's incapacity to make a significant contribution to our marriage and her persistent financial ineptitude have become evident. Judith here, and I never imagined being rendered monetarily worthless by my husband of 5 years at the age of 30. This was especially true when I was in the final stages of selling my software business in Palo Alto. Had it not been so terrible, the irony would have been humorous. I looked through my office's glass walls and saw my secretary, Amanda, laughing at something on her phone, taking longer lunches, making enigmatic phone calls, and showing a peculiar interest in our company's acquisition negotiations were some of her recent weird behaviors. The jigsaw pieces were beginning to fit together now that she was sporting new shoes and a luxury purse. I snapped out of it when my laptop displayed a notice. Another email had arrived from our acquisition team. The sale was almost final. $800 for my software business that focuses on market analysis powered by AI. This was not due to a desire to maintain the confidentiality of the discussions, but rather a realization I had early in my career that mere announcements do not guarantee success. Given his experience in real estate, Daniel had consistently written off my job as computer play. To be honest, he never once tried to understand what I was constructing. Your little project, he said, despite the fact that we were gaining clients and notoriety in the tech sector. Judith? Amanda's voice distracted me as she poked her head into my office. Daniel made a call. He stated that he will send someone this weekend to get his belongings. Thank you, Amanda, I said in a bland tone. She turned away with a faint grin on her face. Her new diamond bracelet, the identical one Daniel's mother had given me for our first anniversary, glinting in the sunlight. Returning to my laptop, I opened the protected folder that held all of our company's records. I would deny Amanda access to our systems as soon as possible tomorrow morning. According to standard procedure, an employee must give notice, which I was certain would happen soon. My signature was required on the final divorce documents, citing irreconcilable disagreements and my alleged lack of financial acumen. Daniel sought a speedy clean split. I was finalizing the largest transaction of my career, and he had no idea that I was arranging my leave. With a peculiar feeling of tranquility, I reached for my pen. There are instances when the best answer isn't even a response. It's simply about empowering individuals to express themselves authentically. In their modern downtown Palo Alto office, I sat across from my lawyers 3 days later to complete the acquisition and divorce documents. The timing was almost poetic. On the one hand, it secured the future of my business, and on the other, it signed away my broken marriage. Do you realize, Ms. Kennedy, that Mr. Harrison will not be able to claim your company's assets if you don't challenge the divorce or reveal the impending sale? What? My corporate lawyer Barbara said, shoving her spectacles up her nose. I nodded as I thought back to the evening 6 months prior when I initially had a terrible feeling. Daniel had been working late more frequently, and Amanda had begun to ask odd questions concerning our company's investor relationships and appraisal techniques. In order to safeguard my intellectual property, not out of envy, I had engaged a private investigator at the time. Their pictures of Daniel and Amanda's private dinners were almost as important to me as my worries about possible business espionage. I said, I completely understand, and signed another form. Daniel made his decision because he thought I hesitated. Paraphrasing him with a faint smile, financially worthless. In my opinion, there was no reason to correct his assumption. Until the sale was finalized, the corporate acquisition team had made it clear that they would maintain complete anonymity. Our staff were pleasantly delighted by the retention bonuses I had negotiated for them. Although even they were unaware of it yet, most of them would be. Anyhow, a text message from my VP of engineering buzzed through my phone. Amanda just sent in her resignation, which will take effect immediately. Amanda claims to be pursuing a thrilling new opportunity. As planned, I whispered, causing Barbara to give me a questioning glance. Are we to worry? She inquired. I shook my head. No. Just the typical exit of someone who believes they have a better opportunity. since I had previously moved all of her access to a monitored account that would keep note of any efforts to access private data. I neglected to mention it. Being in the IT industry teaches you to be ready for departures before they occur. During the afternoon, I heard two developers talking about Amanda's boasting about her amazing investment opportunity. They mentioned unique real estate transactions that would quadruple investors' money in a matter of months. I could see the flash of greed that had likely drawn Daniel. They were an ideal match because they were both so focused on being wealthy fast that they failed to understand the importance of creating something lasting. Returning to my computer, I opened the last acquisition checklist. Allow them to pursue their hopes of making quick cash. I needed to develop a future and sell a business. We finalized the acquisition agreement on a Thursday afternoon. I had a wonderful feeling of satisfaction as I stood in the kitchen of our office, watching my colleagues celebrate with champagne and seeing their excited smiles when I gave them their retention incentives. It was not just about making a sale, but about creating something tangible and worthwhile. Our main developer, Michael, raised his glass and shouted out to Judith. Despite being a smart millionaire in secret, the finest boss never once revealed it. Applause and laughter erupted around the crowd. Thinking about how different this was from Daniel's goal of rapid wealth made me grin. He had always spoken about making it big with some ingenious plan or insider knowledge. But he had never realized that real success typically required years of diligent effort. There was a buzzing message from Barbara on my phone. The divorce is final. Harrison made no objections. Congratulations. You have a lot more money and are now officially single. Just as I opened my mouth to reply, Tyler from accounting rushed over. His face flushed with enthusiasm unrelated to champagne. You're not going to believe what I just heard, Judith, he murmured. According to my contact at First Bay Bank, Daniel recently obtained a sizable loan secured by his real estate assets to invest in a unique chance. He is selling everything. Tyler's fingertips created air quotes. Amanda apparently persuaded him that she knew insider information regarding the proprietary trading algorithms used by our firm. Even as I assimilated this knowledge, my expression remained neutral. Amanda had never been able to use our real AI system. The user interface we presented to our clients was all she had seen. Naturally, though, she wouldn't say it to Daniel. That's interesting, I said coolly as I sipped my champagne. They're confident in their abilities. When I was packing up my office later that night, I came across an old picture of Daniel and me during a Christmas party at work. While usual, he was glued to his phone while I talked to our engineers about a new project. Now, it seemed appropriate. He had never truly been in my world since he was constantly searching for something quicker and better. I grabbed my laptop and threw the picture in the trash can. We would start the integration process with our purchasing business tomorrow. I was under a 3-year contract to keep up my team's leadership and advance our technology with the help of a large tech company. My former private investigator texted me as I was making my way to my car. I thought you may be interested in knowing that AM recently purchased one-way tickets for a solo trip to the Cayman Islands. I remained silent. I chose to switch off my phone and head home to my new condo in the hills, where I sipped wine on the balcony while watching the sun set over Silicon Valley. Sometimes achieving equality isn't the goal of success. It's about letting people deal with the fallout from their own decisions and moving on. I was in the middle of negotiations to extend our AI platform 2 months after the acquisition when the first indications of Daniel and Amanda's demise appeared. While I was discussing integration preparations with our new parent firm, Lisa, my former accounting assistant, called me. Have you watched the news? Without a prelude, she asked. Daniel's real estate firm immediately reported the closure. An irate group of investors has gathered outside their building. I opened my laptop and retrieved the local business news. A throng of individuals holding placards denouncing fraud and demanding their money back was indeed Daniel's workplace. I recognized a number of faces, other real estate brokers who had collaborated with him in the past. Lisa said, "It seems that they all put money into some sort of exclusive investment fund. It has to do with promised profits and proprietary trading algorithms. Does that sound familiar?" I inhaled deeply and put my phone on silent. Naturally, Amanda's role as my secretary had given her plan more legitimacy. It's likely that she had persuaded them that her experience working for a digital firm had given her access to cutting-edge trading tools. Thanks for informing me, I answered at last. However, I'm actually going into a meeting to discuss our plans to enter Asian markets. When I hung up, I returned my focus to my real work. Our first quarter forecasts were already being exceeded, and our AI technology was proving to be much more beneficial than expected. I had an obligation to my investors and staff to keep my attention on genuine chances rather than my personal problems. However, I could not completely ignore the circumstances surrounding Daniel and Amanda. More information surfaced in the days that followed. In addition to Daniel's co-workers, they had persuaded a number of his affluent clients to contribute to their special fund. The allure of exclusive trading algorithms, purportedly derived from insider information gleaned via their affiliation with my business, had been too strong to ignore. Mrs. Harrison? I was deep in thought when I heard a voice. When I looked up, I saw a detective standing in the doorway of my office. I told him that it was now Ms. Kennedy. In what way may I assist you? Daniel Harrison and Amanda Martinez may be involved in an investment scam that we are looking into. We know that Ms. Martinez worked here, right? I nodded and opened my computer's job file for Amanda. She spent 2 years as my secretary. Only the most fundamental administrative tasks were accessible to her. She didn't work on our confidential technologies. I described Amanda's job and duties, and the investigator took notes. When did she leave her job? She left her job approximately 2 months ago, just before the finalization of my divorce. I presented a copy of her letter of resignation to him. HR recorded everything. Do you know that she left with about $3.2 million in investor cash? Along with Mr. Harrison? My face remained expressionless. No, but that doesn't surprise me. Although Amanda never had access to any sensitive material, she was quite interested in the purchase negotiations for our business. It is likely that she utilized that alleged link to lend legitimacy to whatever operation they were executing. The investigator gave me a questioning glance. This seems to calm you down a lot. I pointed to my team's active work on real breakthroughs in the bustling workplace beyond my glass walls. My genuine technology business, which just sold for $800, is currently growing internationally. I don't have time to worry about those who have decided to fall for scams that promise easy riches. In the weeks that followed, a series of discoveries emerged. 2 of Daniel's old co-workers were talking about their losses when I overheard them on my morning coffee run at my favorite Palo Alto cafe. He stole everything, one guy recounted, his voice shaking. My kids' college fund, my retirement savings. Amanda claimed that we were generating 40% monthly profits while displaying all of these phony trade statistics. His partner asked how we could have been so foolish. We assumed she worked for an IT company. After discreetly purchasing my coffee, I departed. I had more pressing things to think about back at the workplace. As we were recruiting leaders for our new Singapore office, we discovered that our AI platform was growing more quickly than anticipated. The foundation of true success is true invention. Barbara contacted that afternoon with an update. She stated that the FBI is currently involved. Amanda and Daniel apparently created shell corporations in 7 separate states. We estimate the overall damages to be about $5 million. Is there any indication of them? I inquired more out of interest than worry. 2 days after their arrival, they emptied the Cayman Islands account. After they were last spotted getting on a yacht, surveillance stopped following them. Barbara stopped. Regarding Amanda's position at your organization, the investigators would like to know if you would be open to speaking. I gave this some thought. Provide them my prior statement and our HR documents. Our technology was not available to Amanda, who worked as a secretary. Any other assertion she made was, simply put, fraud. According to Barbara, they also discovered some intriguing emails. Before this investment scam took off, Daniel apparently boasted to investors about leaving his financially worthless wife. Ironically, the time is. I grinned a little as I recalled what he had said in the divorce documents. Barbara, we are frequently out of sync with karma. I have to get ready for my presentation on the board now. We're considering branching out into applications of medical AI. I observed my staff in action when I strolled into our office later that day. Our technology was developing in ways I could never have imagined before. And the purchase had enabled us to recruit additional developers. On one screen, I could see our AI evaluating the results of cancer treatments. It was forecasting patterns of climate change on another. There was a news alert buzzing on my phone. A multi-million-dollar investment scheme seeks a former IT worker and local real estate tycoon. Photos of Daniel and Amanda looking put together and professional were used in the piece, which also promised amazing returns using exclusive AI trading algorithms. My lead developer, Michael, looked at my phone. He said it's difficult to believe they could impersonate our technology. These algorithms have been developed over many years. I put my phone down and said, people believe what they want to believe. This is especially true for those who are in pursuit of quick cash. In relation to money, Michael smiled. Just now, the medical AI prototype completed its initial testing phase. Venture capital firms have already initiated contact. I grinned as I shifted my focus from the past to the future. We had been creating something genuine, while Daniel and Amanda had been peddling falsehoods. Technology has the potential to genuinely transform lives. I said, let's concentrate on that. There is a lot of work ahead of us. I was showcasing our medical AI innovations at a big tech conference in San Francisco. 6 months after our purchase integration, when the tale eventually came to light, even I was unaware of some of the facts in the Wall Street Journal's in-depth exposé on Daniel and Amanda's deception. I browsed the article on my iPad during a break in between sessions. Evidently, they had already begun to organize their strategy as soon as our acquisition negotiations commenced. As my secretary, Amanda had created phony paperwork by fusing parts of our real AI technology with entirely made-up trading outcomes. Kennedy, Ms. As I was leaving the stage, a Tech Weekly reporter came up to me. Could you share your thoughts on the recent investment controversy involving Harrison Martinez? I gently but forcefully interjected. Given your relationship, my connection is limited to operating the actual technological business they attempted to copy. Hospitals and climate scientists are both benefiting from our AI technology's ability to forecast patient outcomes. I am here to talk about it. The FBI's Financial Crimes Unit sent me an email back in my hotel room. After I had removed Amanda's login credentials, they discovered proof that Daniel had attempted to get access to my company's systems several times in an effort to hide their traces by stealing real trading algorithms. We would appreciate your team's assistance in following their digital trail across other Bitcoin exchanges. But your security procedures prevented any penetration. The agent stated. I sent our security staff the request. Naturally, we would assist law enforcement. But I had more important things to do. After our medical AI received fast-track approval for hospital trials, a number of significant healthcare providers were eager to collaborate with us. Barbara sent me a text, and my phone lit up. They discovered Daniel. I thought you should know. Buenos Aires Airport security apprehended him as he attempted to use a forged passport. There is no sign of Amanda or the money. My VP of operations came to my door as I was just finishing off my response. I apologize for interrupting, but the climate modeling algorithm recently saw a breakthrough by the Singapore team. When you're ready, they're prepared to demo. I placed my phone aside and said, set up the call. The past could wait. The future was unable to come. The next morning's headlines revealed the rest of the tale. Amanda reportedly vanished with almost all of the money, leaving Daniel to deal with the fallout on his own. He was now facing extradition and several federal charges after his last-ditch attempt to escape had failed. I discussed the significance of ethical innovation and true value creation in my concluding keynote address at the conference. I concentrated on the broader lesson, omitting any mention of Daniel or Amanda. I informed the crowded audience that true innovation isn't about making quick money or making grandiose claims. It's about producing real value and finding solutions to genuine challenges. Fast money isn't a positive indicator of success. We measure success by the number of lives saved and issues resolved. When our medical AI platform won Invention of the Year on the same day, Daniel was deported to face charges. The irony was not lost on anybody. We had created something groundbreaking. Whereas he had pursued phony algorithms and hollow promises. I got another update from the FBI that night. The majority of the investors' money was lost, although they had frozen a number of offshore accounts. Amanda, who very certainly had millions of dollars in stolen money, was still at large. After shutting off my laptop, I focused on our most recent project ideas. We were writing our story, while theirs was drawing to a close. I watched Daniel's sentence in the courtroom a year later. His loss had replaced his earlier confidence, and he appeared older than his 35 years. The judge's evaluation of his offenses was uncompromising. You have pled guilty to several counts of conspiracy, investment fraud, and wire fraud. Mr. Harrison, she said, your acquiescence in this deception has ruined retirement funds and lives. You are given a 12-year term in federal prison by the judge. I didn't stay to witness his execution. I had to go to a board meeting to propose expanding our medical AI system to 50 additional hospitals. The climate modeling group was making impressive strides in forecasting extreme weather patterns, and our technology had already contributed to a 40% improvement in patient outcomes. The media titled our narrative The Tale of Two Paths, contrasting Daniel and Amanda's deceit with my real accomplishment. We had created something that was truly making a difference in the world, whereas they had peddled falsehoods and stolen hopes. Amanda was still missing, probably living somewhere else with the stolen millions. Although Interpol had traces of her in Singapore and Dubai, the investigation had failed. Daniel's desperate search for her had only highlighted the extent of her treachery. I considered how things could have gone differently if Daniel had taken the time to learn about what I was developing rather than rejecting it as financially pointless as I traveled to our Palo Alto offices. However, those who seek short-term wealth seldom notice true worth when it is present. 2 weeks after Daniel's sentencing, Stanford's School of Engineering invited me to speak at their commencement. I could see the same passion and will that had inspired me to create something significant as I gazed out at the sea of excited faces. I informed them that shortcuts are not the key to success. The goal is to add genuine value. True innovation comes with commitment, honesty, and the guts to create something real. The world is filled with individuals searching for fast victories and easy money. A young lady came up to me with her certificate in her hand after the event. She continued, I read about what happened with your former secretary and ex-husband. Seeing people receive what they are due must be gratifying. I pondered this for a while. To be honest, I was too preoccupied with creating something tangible to concentrate on their demise. I chose my route, and they picked theirs. Our Singapore staff sent me an email that evening. A small island country was barely able to evacuate before a destructive cyclone because of our climate modeling AI. They had saved thousands of lives. Another alarm appeared in the interim. Federal agents had recently confiscated Daniel's final concealed assets, a meager $42 in a forgotten account. I had a wonderful feeling of satisfaction as I strolled into our workplace, which now occupies 3 floors and employs more than 200 people. The business Daniel had written off as my small endeavor was now worth over $100 million and, more significantly, was changing the globe. Retaliation isn't always the greatest kind of retaliation. It's the straightforward joy of creating something significant while others seek after shadows.